Go live.
Live.
So looks like we're live. Cool. Now I gotta find. There it is. There's the live stream.
It doesn't automatically go to Facebook.
Right there. My thing is, how do you get a link?
It's
there we
moving.
go. There's the link. So I am just sharing the live stream to our Facebook before we get started. I'm going to say Nicole. Wrong Nicole. Nicole and I are live talking about what it's been like being new parents during COVID,
Woo.
wildfires, etc. Tune in. Bam.
Post.
Yeah. And so do you have your phone? You
Yeah.
gotta accept my tag.
Okay.
Do it.
Right now?
Yeah, right now. So it'll go live. We're live.
It doesn't go live if I don't accept.
Not on your... I mean, it's live regardless, but then people will see it on your end. And I think there's like a 30-second lag with this Facebook Live thing, by the way. That's what I figured out. But... Anyway. Yeah. So, yeah, we got 2 viewers. Check it out. Okay. So, let's try to focus on the show itself. Because if I focus on the people watching, it's going to be distracting. But this is pretty cool. This is our first time going live in the studio.
JonTopofIt.
JonTopofIt. So, I'm Jon Meisburg. This is Nicole Meisburg, my lovely wife. And we are here to talk about Bernie. The new addition to our family. So,
he's napping right now.
yeah, he's over on the DDR machine over there in the corner. So, let's see. So, 1 month in. 1 month in, Nicole.
Yep.
What do you... What do you think?
We made it a month.
Yeah. Are you surprised that we made it?
I mean, you do what you got to do to get through.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Take shifts, sleeping. You've been a big help when I couldn't even do anything because of my C-section.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just trying to help however I can.
Yeah.
But...
I've been really thankful for having family, like your mom helping out, my parents helping out, so we can get some sleep in. So that's been good. And everyone who's been bringing food and
yeah,
providing those needs for us.
Definitely.
It's been nice.
So I was going to ask you some questions that maybe would bring up some interesting stories of things we've experienced so far over the past month. So for starters, I guess we could begin with, what was your labor experience like?
Gosh. Well, first of all, I was like 3 days early? No, it was 2 days early.
Your water broke on August 9th.
Okay, yeah, it was a few days early. and my water broke while I was taking a nap. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's not pee. That's water. My water breaking. And I mean,
I saw it on the ground. It definitely.
Well, you weren't even there. So I was
Right.
like, okay, stay calm. And then I was like, okay, I need to call John. I need to call my parents, and then I'll call the hospital. At that point, I wasn't feeling any contractions or anything. So, but I heard, as soon as your water breaks, you got to call the hospital. So that's what I did. And they told me to come in. So we came in.
Yeah, I was in disbelief, but I think that's normal. I'm like, oh, it's happening. Oh, okay, I guess it's happening.
Good thing you weren't 30 minutes away.
Yeah, I was just right around the corner. But so you get to the hospital, and would you say that things went the way that you expected them to? Do you think things were way different, or how would you describe your experience at the hospital?
I think there's no way of fully being prepared for labor. Like everyone tells you all these tips and tricks and what to expect, and you go in with this idea of what it's going to be like, and I don't know. There was so many, you don't know what's going to happen. Everyone's labor story is different. So there were definitely things that I was like, oh my goodness.
What were some tips and tricks that people gave you about being at the hospital?
First of all, eating before you go, because you don't know when the next time you're going to get to eat is.
Mm-hmm.
They gave me a lot of tips and tricks for like vaginal births. So when that wasn't the case for me, it was kind of like, oh, okay, what do I expect doing this?
I don't know any tips or tricks for a C-section.
Thankfully, my cousin, Sandy, was, she had just had a C-section like a week before me. So she filled me in on a few things. So that helped. She's like, be prepared for the operating room. It's like it's like intense. It was
like a set
ER.
It was like a set from that movie Men in Black.
Oh yeah, like white walls, people in like full on gowns, even more like facial things because of COVID, and probably and bright lights. And there's just like, I don't know if there's 10, 15 people like all assisting, and they all knew what they were doing. So that was helpful, but it was like, wow, this is like surgery.
It was like the same room that I feel like if we discovered aliens, they'd bring like the UFO into that room and then like try to figure out like what was inside. It was very sterile and alien like.
Yeah. It's like the bright lights.
So, okay, I feel like you're jumping to the end of that experience, though. Like, we were in that hospital room for quite a long time, waiting
over 24 hours, I think.
Waiting for you to, like, they gave you Pitocin, and
I wasn't having natural contractions at that point. So they're like, well, your water's definitely broke. Let's speed up the birthing process. Mm-hmm. So they gave me Pitocin, and I started having contractions. And they were intense, really intense.
Yeah, I remember you going from like saying, I don't feel anything to I feel a lot of things.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, our baby is very close, and I think it's waking up. So I know this is like a live show and everything, and this is like my future, I guess, welcome to being a dad. But can you hear it?
Yeah.
It. Yeah. Him.
Keep calling
is when you call a baby are you misgendering? I don't know. I feel like that's pretty generic. So we were saying hungry. If our baby cries during this show, we were going to feed him on air and then keep going. So do you want to feed him or should I?
Yeah, I'll go get the bottle.
Okay. So why don't you hand him to me and I'll hold him and stall while you get the bottle. And then everyone on the internet can see Bernie for the first time on a show. Let's see. Where is he? Here he comes. Okay. Okay. This will be fun. Here you go. Okay, just watch the drink. Okay, so why don't you just get the bottle and I'll stall for a second. So
This is Bernie.
yep, Bernie, you're on the show. Bernie, why don't you say hi to the internet? Oh, you just farted in my lap. I hope it was a fart. So, do you wanna feed? Maybe you should feed him since I'm switching the camera with this thing. Oh, he loves lights. He's staring at our studio lights, and look at him. Really likes that light. Look, you see that? He can't. So something interesting that Nicole and I both found out is that babies cannot see beyond like 12 inches away until they're 4 months old?
Yeah, around 4 months.
But they can see light.
Yeah, they can see blobs.
So look at him.
So they can probably, he really likes the light.
He can really, I can definitely see the light. In fact, all he needs is light. Look, I don't even think he needs a bottle.
Oh,
He
he's
may just need
hungry.
light.
Do you want to?
No, I think you should do it because I'm going to be switching the camera.
Well, you just look so content.
Yeah, well, but he can look at the other light. So let's do this safely. Nah, okay. So, you situated, get the bottle, and we'll keep going. Yeah?
Can you see him?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's not about him right now. I mean, the whole podcast is actually about him in a way, but...
Do you want it? No?
Oh my God. This is what happens when you go live.
Maybe he's good.
Okay, maybe he's good. All right, let's see. So, as I was saying, they gave you Pitocin to induce labor. No, let's start from the beginning. Your water broke. The doctor told you, okay, since the water broke, now you're on a time schedule where you have to give labor in a certain amount of time or else there's risk of infection. So they gave you Pitocin to induce labor so that you give birth as soon as possible, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then Pitocin was painful. Maybe 6 hours into the pregnancy, you were like, F it, I want an epidural. You got your epidural. And then for that was like 7 a.m. And then all day and all night, you were in contractions.
Yep.
And eventually got to a point where 2 things happened. I think one thing is that the doctor told you that your cervix had not dilated wide enough on its own.
Yep.
And
so Bernie was stuck.
They thought it's potentially Bernie was stuck. But then the other thing they told you was that it's gone for such a long time that they're concerned about infection, right? Mm-hmm. So they said a C-section would be a good option.
The water had broken for a long time.
Well, yes. The water had broken a long time ago. They were worried about infection, so you had a C-section. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, 3:30 in the morning. We've been in the hospital for a day and a half.
Laboring. Yeah.
Yes. So why don't you tell the internet what was your C-section like?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I kind of explained about the lights and the intense just going in the room, multiple amount of people, which was intimidating, but yet comforting that everyone knew what they were doing.
There was a lot of people in that room.
And they were just like, oh, we got you. Da, da, da. They're in their spots. Even before surgery, they announced their names and what they were doing. And they went around the room. I'm like, oh, okay. This is kind of
a very well-oiled machine.
Yeah. I was like, okay, official. And they had up this big tarp, which I'm really thankful for because I did not want to see all that was going on.
It was like a divider so that it's they could operate on you without them seeing what you were doing. Mm-hmm. But I could stand over it, and I actually watched the entire C-section from start to finish. And it was because it was interesting. It was very interesting. I was like, okay, there's a person inside this person, and I want to see them take it out. Of course, why not?
Okay. Not for me.
Well, I mean, why did you not want to? Here's a question: why did you not want to see it?
I mean, it was weird enough just like thinking that they were cutting me open. And I mean, my pain meds were off of the epidural, so I couldn't feel any pain, but I could feel them touching like where they were cutting and moving stuff around while awake. So it was like weird enough. Mm-hmm. I don't know. And then like on top of that, towards the end, I started to feel them stitch me up. So then they gave me more pain meds, and I was just, I mean, I was shaking. Like I was like my hormones were like
for a little bit I was a little worried about you because of how much you were shaking. It seemed like something might have been wrong. I don't know, but I guess it's just because I don't have any experience with that.
They say that happens with like the Pitocin and hormones and everything that's going on.
Yeah.
So
it was normal.
Yeah. But it was, I mean, I think it was also nerves too, maybe. It's just like overwhelming. My whole body was just like taxed from, first of all, laboring over a day and then, yeah, having surgery.
Let's talk about surprising aspects of the C-section. So, like, for me, one of the most surprising things was how quickly it's done, that they were able to get the baby out of you within, like, a matter of minutes, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like the baby was out of you in less than 5 minutes, right?
It was like 10 minutes. I mean, I don't know. You probably know time more than me because
it feels like it was like 5 minutes.
Because
like,
I was out of it. I was so loopy.
They literally put up the curtain, and as soon as they gave you some kind of medication to numb your body, what did they give you to numb it?
The epidural. I had the epidural before, but then they gave additional pain meds. Yes. Because I was feeling the stitches.
So they started touching you in different areas and saying, "Do you feel this? Do you feel this?" And you said no, and they said, "Okay, she's ready." And so from the second they said she's ready, they took a knife, like a little scalpel, made an incision, and just looked like they just moved some things around, and then put a bag in there to hold it open. It was like a clamp bag to hold something open, and they just went in there and reached in and grabbed the baby.
Wow.
It was very quick.
I should also say during all of this, you feel really, well, at least for me, I felt really nauseous because a lot of Pitocin and pain meds can make you feel nauseous. And beforehand, they're like, "Oh, we're giving you this." I had vomited before the C-section, and so then I really had no food in me. And then they're like, "Okay, we're gonna give you something for nausea. It's gonna taste like sweet tarts." It did not taste like sweet tarts.
Wait, what did it taste like?
I mean, I get the little like tart taste to it, but it was like, ugh. It was like burning. I don't know. It was just not good. It did not feel good on like after I just threw up. And then in the surgery room, I threw up again. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I wonder how much people like to hear about us talking about throw up. It's funny.
I mean, you wanted to talk about birthing, so
it's true. It's on me. It's on me. It's on me.
I feel like that's the least amount of like grossness
that's
about
true.
it.
There's worse parts.
Yeah, this isn't even a vaginal birth, so
yeah. Yeah. See, you threw up a lot. Another surprising aspect of your C-section to me was that. I mean, we read a baby book. Ahead of time that was like, "Oh, this is what you think your baby's going to look like." Wrong. And it was like, your baby's going to have a cone head from getting pushed through the vagina. And that was somewhat true. Its head was a little, cone shapey. But also, I remember when they pulled him out, he looked super grumpy. And I was like, why is he so upset? Like, he just looked really upset. And they took him to this table and started shaking him violently, and I was really caught off guard. Like, I thought you're not supposed to shake a baby. And the guy who was shaking him was like, "Oh, it's to get the water out of his lungs. It's they have to do it so he'll start breathing properly." I'm like, "Okay, I mean, I guess you guys know what you're doing." But they were like, they had their hands on his chest, and they were going, "Oh, like really hard." Like, if I had done that, my dad would have been like, "Jonathan, that's too rough. That's too rough, Jonathan,"
Yeah. They had to get that off of his.
You missed that part because you were on the operating table.
I was out.
Yeah. Anyway, you survived.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And now we
Well,
have this little guy.
What did you feel the first time you saw him? Saw him pull him out.
Feel? I don't know. I was like, oh, there he is. I'm like, wow, he looks pretty pissed off. That's about it.
I think it was like surreal. Like it was weird for me to like see. I'm like, oh, there's like a person now, and he's not inside me anymore.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I'm like, who is this person? That he's like my person.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it really like clicked until they put him on me, and we were like cheek to cheek.
Yeah, you're like, oh, there he is.
I was like, wow,
he's
this
a real
is my
person.
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was special.
That was a special moment.
Yeah.
And then having you there.
Yeah. Now, the C-section was a blessing in the sense that he got the baby out safely, but it was also inconvenient in a lot of ways, right? Like, for one, having a C-section means they have to keep you in the hospital for an extra 2-3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were just...
Well, for my recovery.
For your recovery. So we were stuck in the hospital for an extra 2 or 3 days. I think our hospital bill, we calculated all of the bills we got in the mail, and it ended up totaling something like $57,000. But after insurance, it was like $2,000. But still, like, I think that having a C-section birth is over twice as expensive as vaginal birth. But I guess when it comes to like the doctors telling you it's going to save your baby's life, you really are kind of at their mercy. Like, what are you going to say? No, I don't want it. You know, I don't know. Anyway, so we were there for 5 days, and because you couldn't do a lot because you had surgery, I kind of ended up having to do everything for you, right?
Yeah. So that was I think that was another like surprise for me. Is after the whole C-section, is I was like, you're bedridden and you can't even go. I think the worst part was I had to be on a whole liquid diet until like a little while before things, like start working again.
Mm-hmm. And the hospital had pretty decent food for like hospital food, and I was eating it all in front of you, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. And so here I am. I was super nauseous from the surgery and from throwing up. And so I have literally no food in me, and I'm starving. And they're like, oh, nope, just a liquid diet. You can't eat anything until, you have to like heal a little bit until things start working again. And I'm like, what? Yeah. So I was like starving, just like having soup and Jello, and it's like all the sugary stuff.
Yeah, like every hour I feel like you were crashing, getting pissed off.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm like so tired, no energy because, I haven't eaten in forever. And then I see you getting like fettuccine Alfredo, and I'm like, oh my god.
It was actually good too. That was
Yeah.
the biggest surprise. Is hospital food. I'm just expecting it to be like, school cafeteria food or something, but it was decent. Well, I'm sorry you had to go through that. And
like even just moving her at that point was hard. And then so it got better when like I think it was like a day later when I could actually eat food again. But then you had to actually walk. And that was fun too. And go to the bathroom, that was fun. Cuz you're all like you're sore and every movement hurts.
Bernie's fussy. Yeah. And so when you have a C-section, it's a 6-week recovery.
Yeah. So then there's like...
So I've been having to do a lot of things around the house. Like she'll go to fill up her water cup or whatever from the fridge and put ice in it. And then if the ice drops on the ground, I'll just find it like as a puddle later on the floor. And she's like, well, I couldn't pick them up, so I just left them there.
Yeah, it's like, okay, during pregnancy, you can't really bend over. And then after pregnancy, you can't really bend over.
Yeah, so you're used to it anyway, I guess.
Yeah, but it's like once you give birth, it's like you want to be done with that. But then you're like, oh, wait, no, can't still do anything for another 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So I'm like, ugh.
Well.
So that was intense. It's like you just gave birth, you want to be done, but then then you're even more exhausted because you have to take care of the baby and you're not sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And
like the baby
I'm in
doesn't
pain.
the baby doesn't sleep for more than like an hour. When we first got home, the baby was sleeping like an hour at a time.
Yeah.
And so the nights are really rough. Like it would be like every hour one of us would be up trying to, you would either pump and give me breast milk in a bottle, or I would give him formula or something, and switch back and forth. Luckily, my mom was willing to fly. She flew over here to visit us from Florida and spent a week and a half helping out in the beginning with taking some night shifts to help us recover from the hospital ordeal and get some sleep in. And now your mom is retired and she's helping with the morning shifts, right? Mm-hmm. So like the way that we figure this out Bernie's sleeping maybe like every 2 hours now, or 2.5, I think. Mm-hmm. So I'll actually stay up until like 3 a.m. because I love staying up anyway. And then at 3 a.m., I'll try to get him to go to sleep in like a bassinet, and then hopefully he'll sleep. But if he doesn't, then you take over, right? Mm-hmm. And
usually he doesn't sleep, or if he does, it's like a half hour.
But at least you got like 4 hours in or so. You sleep from like 11 to 3, and then you wake up and then do like the 3 to 7, and then your mom comes over and does like the 7 to 10, and then that way all of us are getting at least 6 or 7 hours of sleep in some form. Maybe not in one piece, but we're not going crazy.
Yeah.
So it's worked well enough, I think, so far. Anyway, before we move on to another topic, I just wanted to say another surprising thing that I was just looking at was, I remember seeing you go through all this stuff, and I remember thinking about all the women in my life that have had lots of kids, and I'm like, I can't believe. I remember thinking it's hard to believe that women intentionally get pregnant a second time. Like, how do they get pregnant a second time after they've gone through everything they went through the first time? Like, I think it's one thing for it to be like ignorance is bliss. Like, okay, I didn't know any better. But after you've gone through the 9 months of pregnancy and the labor and the I don't know, it just seems like I guess mothers just decide it's all worth it,
Yeah, I think seeing him helps. I honestly think probably as time goes on and he gets older and like starts, responding to you and talking to you, then it's like slowly maybe it starts to fade away. It's still kind of fresh for me.
I've heard that for guys, it doesn't start to become worth it until they can mow your lawn. That's a joke. But yeah, I mean, I think what you're saying is true. It becomes worth it, the more you see them grow up and the more you fall in love with them, I'm sure. What about this? Like, how did you feel our dogs did with when we first brought Bernie home? Were you worried about how the dogs would react to a new person in the house? And how would you say it went?
I don't think I was really worried at all because we have really good dogs that are like friendly dogs towards people in general. The only thing I was maybe slightly worried about was like if Waffy was going to be too energetic, but she was really sweet and she went right over and sniffed Bernie, which I thought she would, and then she like would lick him and yeah.
I've just been mainly concerned with where our dog licks Bernie. Like he tries to lick him in like the inside the ear, and I'm like, is that ear gonna get infected? Like I don't know where that mouth has been.
I think
but
it's okay.
Nice. I hope so.
I mean, to a certain extent, like, yes, you want to be careful with your baby around germs, but at the same time, you don't want to prevent them from all germs because then they won't build immunity.
That's true. So maybe our dog is helping the baby build up their immunity in a way.
Yeah, they say people with pets, their babies are usually have stronger immunities or less sick because there's a lot of allergens with pets and they bring in dust and all that stuff, so they get exposed to all those things
Interesting.
more often.
Okay. Well, then keep licking them, Waffy. Waffy is our Australian Shepherd. Her name is actually Waffles, but we call her Waffy because, you know, it's like any good dog name ends in E, I think, as a nickname for the dog.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's talk about postpartum. How have you dealt with the situation after the birth? How is your mood? I know that like when it comes to giving birth, there's like some unintended side effects, such as like we're not allowed to have sex for 6 weeks at least, and then there's like you gain weight, or your mood can be affected. Not necessarily
because you gained weight throughout pregnancy,
right,
and with the
right,
the fluid you put on in the hospital because they give you so much fluid.
Yes.
And the swelling.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on all that?
I mean, it's a roller coaster ride. It's almost impossible for someone not to feel like a range of emotions going through that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's so many factors. You're exhausted, but yet you had this new life and you're happy, but then you just want to sleep, but you can't sleep because you have to feed the baby. I mean, for me, I was in pain still. Like, and you know, you don't look the same way that you used to look.
Yeah.
Like, everything has changed. There's so many things that have changed. And anytime you have that much change in a short period of time, it's like your whole world is like turned upside down. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, it's like your hormones are turned upside down. So yeah, I would definitely say right after it was probably the hardest, most hormonal time because it's just like every little thing can either set you off or...
Is it possible that you could have avoided this all just by eating the placenta like I said you should have?
No, I don't think that's a cure-all.
Are you sure?
No, I don't think that's
a cure-all. I mean, I read a lot online about people saying, oh, if you get the placenta and you put it in capsules, that women won't have postpartum depression. And I asked Nicole more than once to try it, but she said, no, that's like cannibalism. So,
I mean, like, that's great for everyone who wants to. Like, yeah, like there could be some benefits that, I mean, or it could affect, I think it probably affects everyone differently. Like, it could maybe help some people. Some people, I read it makes them more depressed. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of inconclusive, but I just
don't want you to be sad.
No, I know.
So I just hope that you can make a full recovery mood-wise on your own, whether it be just eating chocolate and drinking coffee and watching some funny movies or something.
Coffee has definitely helped. I'm back on. Happy.
There you go. But after you pump, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I still have to time it because baby is still relying on me to nourish him.
Yeah. I think another thing that I think has helped your mood somewhat is when we go places, because it's like if we get out and do something, I feel like you seem a little bit better. I know, like yesterday you were saying, can we just go somewhere because I'm sick of being stuck in this house.
Yeah.
But we've been dealing with the fires, the smoke from all the fires on the West Coast, and so not only is it COVID where we're like weird about taking a baby around people, but then it's like, you can't even breathe the air outside. So now we're just like in our little bunker, just stuck here. And I think we're both kind of getting a little stir crazy. Hence why we're doing this show in the first place, really. I think it's like just trying to do something, anything.
Yeah.
But, okay, this might be an appropriate topic since you're giving the baby food. Let's talk about like, what's your breastfeeding, pumping, bottle feeding formula experience been like so far? Like, what would you say, how has it gone so far? And like, what could be better and what is not so great?
That was probably the most roller coaster emotions I felt as far as breastfeeding, because I feel like I got info on it, but I didn't really know how it was until it happened. And I mean, I wish that everyone would, as a new mom, would get a lactation consultant, like even before they give birth, just to give like more tips and tricks of how to do things.
Or like what to expect.
Yeah,
Because
what
I feel
to
like when you were
expect.
in the hospital, you were like being shown how to breastfeed Bernie, but I kind of feel like
It was just the bare minimum of like, okay, this is what you do to get him to latch, to get him to get on, and like you hold him like this.
yeah.
If it hurts, like just, relatch. But like, I guess the amount of pressure of where you push him towards you matters, so that his mouth can open wide enough.
And one of the things that you were kind of upset about when we were in the hospital was that they didn't really explain to you how much giving the baby a bottle would change the baby's preference for the bottle and not want to breastfeed as much.
Yeah. They're like, oh, it's not a big deal. Like, the issue was, he was fine latching. He was fine breastfeeding. There was no problem with him breastfeeding. The only problem was, like, I don't think I was giving him enough. And so and he lost a lot of weight.
Not a lot of weight, but he lost some weight. Like, what's
I
a
mean,
lot of
it's
weight?
normal for a baby to lose weight after birth and then they gain it back. But they were saying, okay, well, you need to supplement with formula.
And you don't want to be a bad parent. You're like,
Yeah,
okay, I'll do whatever you say.
And so I was like, okay. And they gave you this bottle, but it was really easy for him to drink out of the bottle, easier than him breastfeeding. And so then when he got used to that, he wouldn't latch anymore. He got frustrated because he was hungry.
Yeah. He's like, why isn't it coming out as easily?
Yeah. And then I felt, like a mom wanting to provide for your baby personally, like, he doesn't like me, like attacked. He'd like push his arms away from me. And, you can imagine how you're already emotional and that happens. And you feel like you're doing something wrong and you're failing. So,
But you weren't failing. It's just how it played out. I think it was just a perfect storm of, it was COVID, so nobody could come to the hospital to help us, and so it was just you and me. And because of that, like, I think it was just really hard on you, and we were just doing what we could in the hospital to survive. And we were just like, okay, if they say give him a bottle, right? Like, we were just trying to make it through.
yeah.
But anyway, I mean, it has kind of changed his preference. Like, he prefers bottles, but Nicole will pump and get all of her breast milk out pretty much that way for the most part. And we just give him breast milk in bottles and formula when we don't have enough breast milk. And that's worked pretty good so far, I feel like. Right?
Yeah, I think I finally come to terms, like, since then, he's like sometimes latched and sometimes drank from me and sometimes not. He'd get frustrated. It's just been like a struggle on and off. And I think I've just come to terms with, well, at least he's getting fed.
Yeah. That's the important
part. And
part.
at least that I can pump and give him some of my milk anyway. So we give him my milk first and then supplement with formula after if he's still hungry.
Yeah. I feel like that works. And when you do try to breastfeed, you use something called a nipple guard, right? It's like this plastic
nipple shield.
Guard shield. But it's like this thing that goes on your areolas that makes them...
It looks like a bottle, basically.
Yeah.
Tip of a bottle,
and it makes it easier for the baby to latch on. But the problem, I don't think, is actually the latching. From my perspective, the problem is not that the baby will not latch on it. The baby will latch onto it. What the baby doesn't get is like an overflow of milk all at once. Like, I think he just wants that. easy like oversupply
stuff that he gets from the bottle.
Yeah, like
he
when
doesn't want to work for it.
Doesn't want to work for it. He just wants a ton all at once from barely sucking.
Yeah.
And like the bottle, I think, teaches babies like, hey, like this is what it can be like. And then they're like, why isn't the breast like that?
Yeah.
So I mean,
it's called nipple confusion.
Nipple confusion, but it's really not a fair competition. It's not fair.
No.
So I think for our second kid, what we're gonna try to be like, okay, if we just use the breast and he doesn't get used
Not
to
the bottle,
yeah, like what would that be like? Would he be more grateful for getting whatever out of, you know what I mean? If that's all he knew, kind of like if you only drank Starbucks coffee your whole life and never got to try like artisan coffee. And you're just like, Starbucks coffee is just how it's supposed to be. And you just never get to change.
Because you don't know.
Not that your breast milk is Starbucks coffee, by the way. The breast milk is the good stuff. That's the good stuff, right? That's a bad example.
It's just the delivery.
This is live TV. I can't cut it.
It's just the delivery of the good stuff.
Yes, it's the delivery. Yeah. I need a different analogy. I don't have time to figure it out, so we're gonna move on. Okay. Gas. That's a big issue that we've had. Gas. Segue to gas. Right? Gas has been a big issue. The baby cries a lot, and we think it's mainly related to gas because he is, farting and burping and hiccuping.
Because he's so hungry and he just like wants to get the food. He's like a chomper. Like before he started on the bottle, he was a chomper. He's like, I want all the food at once. He's like, wow, wow, wow. And so he's still the same with the bottle. If he's hungry, he's just like, give me the food. And so when he tries to chug it, I think he's getting a lot of like air bubbles. So we got these like Dr. Brown's bottles. Supposedly it's supposed to help
What's the
with
green
that.
thing in it do?
I think it's some kind of device that like pushes the air in a certain way, so it's creates less air bubbles. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, who knows if that's true or not?
Yeah.
This might be a marketing tactic. Dr. Brown apparently is a very well-reviewed doctor, and he has a lot of products related to feeding your child. And so, I mean, I guess I trust him. I hope it's not a scam. But he also sells a pitcher that we bought, some kind of pitcher that you put the formula into a pitcher, and then the bubbles can settle.
Yeah, it stirs it in a certain way where it doesn't get all foamy when you mix it together.
Yeah,
so
and then
it's less air bubbles.
But then you let it settle in the pitcher, and then you pour that into bottles, and then less air makes it into your baby. But besides that, we also just like try to make sure we burp him. And what did we just read? That if you tilt the bottle so that there's no air in the nipple, that helps. But we've also been giving him probiotics and what is it called, Mylicon, I think, and simethicone, which is gas drops. Do you think? I think the simethicone has helped. I can't speak to the probiotic.
Yeah, I think the simethicone has helped because he gets more calm and
almost immediately after.
Yeah.
I just don't want to give him too much and like cause another problem, like maybe it makes him constipated or something.
Yeah.
Tell me about diaper changing. How's that gone for you so far? Has that been okay?
That's been fine. I mean, I used to work at a preschool and change hundreds of diapers, so I'm kind of used to that.
Yeah.
How's it been for you?
Well,
it's been a while.
Peed in my face a couple times. You take off the diaper and then you just see the stream go. Whoo! He has peed on me several times. The most frustrating thing I think is when you go to change the diaper. You take it off. You wipe it with the wipe. You put on the Desitin. You put on the new diaper. And you're like, okay, Bernie, you're good. And then I'll put him back in his pajamas. And then I'll put him in his swaddle. And then I hear. I'm like, damn it, Bernie. Yeah, so sometimes that happens where like you go through all the work and he just does it again. And then I think, this might make me kind of a bad parent, but I'm just kind of like, do I have to really change him like right now? Like, how about like in an hour?
You don't want to rash.
I know you don't want to rash. I know, but it's just really annoying.
Yeah.
That's all. Anyway, but for the most part, it's been pretty easy. I think at first he was freaking out. At first I think he was crying a lot when we go to change his diaper, and then we got a diaper, a wipe warmer, which you thought was kind of silly.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that he doesn't cry as much now.
That's true.
So who's the silly one?
Well,
now?
It could be he's trusting us more and being like, oh, you provide for me and care for me.
Yeah, I guess you'll never know. I mean, I guess for the next baby, you could not use a wipe warmer at all and see if he keeps crying. If you want to play a scientist.
We have a wipe warmer.
Yeah.
I think it's a luxury, but it's nice.
They're like $5. I mean, is that a luxury?
Well,
a Tesla is a luxury.
Okay.
A wipe warmer is just, it's a whatever.
Okay.
Okay.
The truth is, though, if you think it's bad now, when they get older, there's more poop.
What do you mean?
Like, there's a lot more to clean up.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Like right now, it's like runny peanut butter.
Yeah, and it takes like a couple wipes to get rid of it.
Uh-huh.
It's going to take a lot more when they're older.
Why are you trying to scare me?
Just preparing you. Like 2-year-old diapers are way different than newborns.
No.
When they start eating solid foods, whole nother ballgame.
God. Sleep. How have we been doing with getting the baby to go to sleep?
He really likes to be.
Oh, there you are. I'm actually switching the cameras with this little device right here, and I have to be present in the conversation with you, but also, try to remember to switch to the right camera at the right time. And it's that's kind of a challenge, but I think it's starting to become something on autopilot, really. I'm not even really having to think about it.
Cool.
Except for I just screwed it up. Okay, so yeah, what were you saying?
He really likes to be bounced.
Mm-hmm.
He really likes this position right here, actually.
Yeah.
This calms him down a lot. But, so we'd sit on the yoga ball and bounce him. He really likes that. He likes to we have a little bouncer that he sits in, and we just move it back and forth, and he likes that. And the latest thing you found is playing your DDR in a little pouch.
I don't know if that really makes him go to sleep, but he definitely
did go to sleep.
He did go to sleep. But
I think it's the same kind of movement, the up and down bouncing, if you do a very slow song.
Yes.
Not a fast one, but yeah.
No max 300.
No.
I think he really likes being put in a swaddle as long as it's correctly. If you let him get his arms out, he gets really frustrated and freaks out. But if you can swaddle him to where his arms are right against his body and you get it real nice and tight, he calms down pretty quickly if he's been fussing. And so I think my formula for getting him to go to sleep is put him in a swaddle, feed him, and then
swaddle,
bottle, and then pat him and rock him until he goes to sleep, and then try to transfer him into a bassinet as carefully as possible. But I think the problem is if we put him in a bassinet right after he eats, then he has maybe he has acid reflux or something.
Yeah.
And it's since he's flat, it
starts
burping it up, and it causes him to be upset. So I try to burp him and just rock him for 30 minutes after he feeds, so he doesn't throw it back up or whatever. But one of the things that I've learned, I didn't know this. I don't know if you knew this about the active sleep versus quiet sleep. Did you know about that?
I know that.
You knew about that
You
already?
have to wait until he gets into quiet sleep versus active.
Yeah, I wrote down some notes that I saw online about how it says newborns have two different kinds of sleep, active sleep and quiet sleep. During active sleep, newborns move around a lot and make noises. They can be woken easily during active sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, if we try to transfer him too early to a bed,
yep,
then he wakes right back up, and it's yeah. So it says during quiet sleep, newborns are still. Their breathing is deep and regular, and they are less likely to wake during quiet sleep. When newborns sleep, they go through sleep cycles. Each newborn sleep cycle has both an active sleep and quiet sleep, and each cycle takes about 40 minutes. So that means after we after we feed him, we're supposed to wait probably like 40 minutes to try to transfer him to a bed. So maybe we can get better at our timing or something. I think he also likes white noise. That's something else. Just any kind of sounds like that. So I think you mentioned this earlier, but why don't you talk to me about things that you've noticed that the baby likes so far? What?
I'm just looking at him.
What does he like? He likes the lights. We talked about that. Yeah.
He likes bouncing.
Bouncing.
Oh, fussy.
He likes the bath.
Oh yeah.
He
loves those baths.
Likes warm water. Padding. We have one of those big exercise balls that you sit on, and if you sit on the exercise ball and bounce up and down, I think he really likes that. And pacifier.
The sucking, yeah, calms him down. He also really likes his mobile.
Oh,
he
right.
likes the movement.
Right. And I don't think he can actually see the animals themselves in the mobile, but I think
he can see something moving.
He can see like the colors maybe in the movement. I think that's enough. What would you say are some fun things that we've been able to do with him so far? Oh no, Bernie. You think he's still hungry?
Yeah.
We're problem solving here.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like he'll drink so much, and then we'll think, okay, he's done. He's not done. He just takes breaks.
Yeah. Okay, so what?
What are some fun things that we've done with him so far?
We have gone to the zoo.
Yeah.
And got a zoo membership. That was really fun.
How was that?
It was nice to get out of the house and have somewhere else to walk rather than just like around the block.
Especially during COVID. Like we haven't been anywhere.
And I hadn't been to the zoo in a long time, and it was nice just going with my family.
Here, why don't I take a turn? Let me try taking a turn. I'll just keep the camera on you. Let's see if we can do this. Okay. Hi, Bernie.
Keep the camera on both of us.
I think I got this. Okay. So, yeah, tell me about the zoo.
Yeah, I mean, I told you about the zoo. I don't know what else you want me to say.
Well, what are some other fun things that we've done with them so far?
So that was fun going to the zoo. We've been to like Green Lake.
Just
walking around the lake. And what else? We went to the beach, Golden Gardens, but we didn't like go out in the crowds. We're kind of on the outskirts.
Yeah.
Just little outings like that. We went a lot of outdoor things when there wasn't wildfires. Nice, just like walking them. We've been to the dog park.
Yeah, I can't wait till you can see some of this stuff.
I know. Yeah, I think that's what I'm just like most excited for. Like it's great having them here and having my own little baby, but I just am so excited for him to actually like respond to us and like for him to smile and him to giggle and start moving around, pointing at things, laughing, speaking.
I think the graphic designer in me really enjoyed decorating his room.
Oh yeah.
I think that was fun.
Yeah. That was really fun.
We got to pick out all the decorations at, where did we go? Hobby Lobby or something?
Oh, yeah. They had like 50% off.
Like 90% off.
Yeah. They always have like some sale going on. So it was great.
Yeah.
And we got like decorated his whole room for a discount. So it was good.
Yeah. It was fun to set up his room. I put some glow in the dark like stars on the ceiling. He'll like that when he's older.
Got a woodland bear theme because his name is Bernie, which means bold bear.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of lumber.
Bold as a bear.
Bold as a bear.
Bold bear.
So, and he's cute like a bear too. And so we have a lot of like buffalo plaid, lumber plaid, and then like bear stuff all over.
I think it's also, I've had dogs for half my life at least, and I know it's kind of silly, but I've always enjoyed dressing up my dogs. And you kind of, when you have a baby, you get to dress up your baby. It's like not really any different. It's like, oh, let's put this outfit on the baby. Let's put this outfit on the baby, and I kind of enjoy that. It's fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite outfit he's worn so far?
I mean, I really like the outfit that we had his first photo shoot in. That was really cute.
I was like lumber plaid.
Yeah, the lumber plaid pants and the hat, and then I had this shirt made for him with a bear on it. This is Bernie.
That was cute.
And photo shoots are fun.
Oh yeah,
because it's like
until they're not.
Yeah,
until they're
you're trying everything, and you have all these like crying photos. You get him like just perfect, and then he moves his arms like in front of his shirt,
and you're like, no.
And you're like, no. Like that's the whole point. I want people to see his shirt, and it's like covered. So you do this kind of thing where you like move his hands and then quickly like let go, and you have like 1 second to take a photo.
Yeah.
Or you just throw a binky in there.
But you learn all the tricks to make it work.
Yeah. That's the fun part, learning the tricks.
The number one trick.
Watch out for his...
Oh, okay, boy.
His head.
Yeah. The number one trick is to take 100 photos.
Yeah.
And then one of them might work, right?
Exactly. Yeah, the ones you see on Instagram and Facebook, it's like literally the one photo out of 100 that works.
I mean, that's
reality.
Everyone knows that's the trick.
Yeah. I really enjoyed seeing him in Sounders too.
Oh, yes. The soccer team here.
Mm-hmm.
Dressing him up and watching the game. And
and having our family photo with Sounders gear.
Yeah.
It's cute.
Another thing that I think has been fun to do so far is to go back into like our old photos and find what we looked like as babies and to compare that to what he looks like. And it's amazing. You look at old baby photos of me and you, and like he really does look like us. And I mean, I know it's like a duh thing. It's like DNA, but it's one thing to know it and it's another to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's really like, that was one thing. I'm like, how is he going to look? And you do all these like apps, these morph apps of us.
They don't work.
And
they don't work.
I mean, it doesn't. Yeah, you kind of get an idea.
I was like, who is that kid? That's not my kid.
Yeah, I don't know. It like seems weird. And yeah, honestly, none of the morph apps really looked like Bernie. But then you look back at you as a baby, like newborn, and you're like, wow, I see. Like he looks so, like this part looks similar and that part looks similar. And even with your picture too, it's like you see aspects. So I'm really curious how he's going to look as he gets older.
Oh yeah, definitely. Tell me about this. How about this? Like, obviously we're still in a pandemic. It's COVID, and it kind of affects, like, for example, when you were at the hospital, no one could come visit us. And now that he's home, like your parents, they're retired. And so like they've kind of isolated themselves to where, it's impossible for them to be a vector to bring COVID over here when they interact with the baby. But as far as like letting your friends come over and hang out with the baby, or letting Bernie hang out with other babies, and just thinking about things like that, like that's been kind of difficult, hasn't it? Like,
yeah. I mean, obviously he hasn't hung out with other babies yet, so that'll definitely be a bridge to cross.
Hopefully there'll be a vaccine by then.
Hopefully, yeah, by the time he's like mobile, there'll be a vaccine or something, because that would be really sad, because I want him to play with all my friends that have kids, and with my cousin who just had a baby too. They're like the same age, That'd be really sad if it's still no vaccine.
What is it? It's September now. I'm thinking by hopefully spring of next year, things will be looking a lot different, but we'll see, I guess.
Yeah.
But it has been difficult. Like, friends want to come over and visit the baby, and I'm like, all right, well, how about we hang out outside and wear a mask and We'll give you some hand sand.
Yeah.
And I think if you take all those precautions, it's probably okay. But in the back of your mind, you're just a little like on edge, just because of,
Yeah.
I'm not even worried that the baby is going to get sick and die. I'm worried that the baby will get coronavirus and then give it to your parents.
Yeah.
That's the biggest danger, is that babies.
Yeah.
Well, we'd probably be fine too. I'm not worried about us. I'm worried about if your parents interacted with the baby after the baby got coronavirus.
Sure.
And because if the baby was asymptomatic,
but it affects everybody. But yeah.
Yeah, but we would just get a little sick. I'm mainly worried about if we spread it to somebody who would get a lot sick. That's all.
Higher risk.
Yeah.
People. But I mean, it's not good for anybody.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we've talked already about like some things he likes, but I just kind of wanted to like put more of an emphasis on like the best baby hacks we found so far. And so one of the things I wrote down was that this Mamaroo device we got is pretty cool. It looks like the thing that people drive in that Pixar movie WALL-E. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
The fat people
Yeah.
are riding around in. But it basically, the premise of this machine, you can Google it if you want, for the Mamaroo. It's the premise of it is that you don't swing your baby, you kind of go like this with your baby. And so the machine kind of does that for you, right? Is that like the idea?
Yeah, it simulates like a mother when she sways back and forth or up and down. It doesn't just go like, forward, back. It goes like side to side. It goes in circles. It can simulate like, I guess, a car ride, like the swaying and all that. So he is really like that. At first we had it tilted at more of an ankle and he didn't like that. And I guess, we moved it to more like kind of like a bed and he liked that much better. So for those who are like, oh, my baby didn't really like that thing. So try a different angle.
Yeah. The angle matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and sometimes we just put him in there and let him sleep and watch him from the couch and he just hangs out. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause you're not supposed to let him sleep in there.
Well, unattended.
Unattended.
Because they could roll over.
That's what I meant.
SIDS and all that. So, yeah, he likes the Mamaroo. He likes the medicine ball where we bounce on the medicine ball. He likes, supposedly he likes the DDR machine. But, my dad called me after he saw this video of me playing DDR with him. And he was like, don't play DDR with that baby, Jonathan. He's too young. And I'm like, all right. I'm like, what's the difference between that and a bouncer? I don't know.
Well, if it's too bouncy, like I understand. But I was watching you to make sure you weren't like too.
I could turn off the jumps though, like in the like I did for you.
Yeah, just do that.
Turn off
and
all
then
the
he's
jumps,
swaying.
and then you're just kind of stepping around.
Yeah, it's no different than if you were just stepping normally when you're walking with him in the pouch.
Yeah.
So.
I think another baby hack that I've discovered is sticking him in the corner of the couch. So I do this thing where like I just like stick him against the arm of the couch and lean him up against it and then give him a bottle with one hand. And then I like put my body against his body. So he's like kind of sandwiched between the couch arm and me. And he's just like sitting there. And then I can, with one hand, give him the bottle. And then the other hand, I can go on my phone and do whatever I want.
Yeah. You put him in that same spot where your profile picture is.
Yes. And to me, that makes, because he has a preemie nipple and it takes a long time for him to feed. Sometimes it can take like 15, 20 minutes. So it's just helps me stay sane to be able to do something entertaining while he's feeding. That's my baby hack. Do you have any baby hacks that you can think of?
Trying to think.
I don't know why you were trying to burp and we should have just shown him the lights. Look.
I know.
He just wanted to see the lights. Yeah.
I know definitely discovering that he loves being bounced and just sitting on the yoga ball is definitely a hack for him because it's like anytime he fusses, you just go and bounce on the yoga ball sitting on it and he like instantly stops.
Yeah, that's been
calms down.
That's been pretty helpful.
Yeah.
I can tell you the worst baby hack that we've discovered is that stupid bottle holder we bought from Wish. Stupid.
It looks great.
You were
very...
like, you're like, why didn't you buy it? It's gonna take it's gonna take 2 months to come in. It's coming from China. You should have bought it earlier. And
because then you could do something while you're feeding them.
Yeah, we bought this. It came up on Wish on Facebook. It's some ad. It was like a clamp that clips onto something. Oh, it's like a clamp that clips onto something, and then it holds the bottle for you, and then you just stick the bottle in it and walk.
It holds it's a clamp that holds a bottle, and then a clamp that clamps onto wherever, like a seat or like wherever he's setting.
Except
bouncer.
Except it doesn't hold the bottle.
Yeah, the bottle. I think the bottle. Maybe they think like a smaller bottle, but a bottle's so big it like slips right out.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating.
It is frustrating. Anyway, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. Bernie, do you want to say anything? Do you want to say anything before we go? Well, I'm going to let you have the last word.
Hold up his head.
Do you want to say anything?
What?
Really?
He's saying...
What else? What else?
He's tired and uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think that's going to do it for us, guys. But this was the first time we've ever gone live on the John Topofit show. Expect more live streams I'm going to get some friends and special guests to attend the show. I guess with COVID, we've said, if they wear a mask, maybe it'll be acceptable. Because I think that's the main thing that's been keeping me from doing podcasts is like having people over during COVID is kind of weird.
Yeah.
But hopefully you can find a way to do that safely, and I'll do some more of these live broadcasts. But thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Don't forget to follow.
See you on the flip side.
Yeah, don't forget to follow the channel, and you'll get updates for the next time we go live. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Say bye, Bernie. He's saying...
He's sad that we have to go.
He's sad it's ending. Say bye, Bernie. That's his way of saying bye.